to start off the first versus battle for season 2, I just literally figured out the biggest puzzle to me in 8th grade. I wanted to save season 2 for a couple more months, but people are literally begging for season 2. So I am going to give you guys the first versus battle of season 2, and it is Namrata versus Tyrone. So who is Namrata? Namrata was a Sevi. If you don't know what Sevi is, she was in 7th grade when I was in 8th grade. She was one of the newcomers that came in that everybody liked. And Tyrone was literally the biggest example of my character development when I was in 8th grade. So Tyrone comes from Oakland. Tyrone literally is just like Robert. He was super nice to me, but he was a part of the popular group, so he treated me like my rank, but he was the only one throughout junior high who actually showed me my character development and actually gave me recognition for my character development. So who is Namrata? Namrata was the finest Sevi in my opinion. She had perfect tits like Abby, and she was Indian, Guamanian, and all this other shit. She had perfect lips. She looked like Priya Rai, but in junior high. And it literally pissed me the fuck off because she was the funniest thing I ever seen, and I could not get with her. I knew she was out of my league, and it pissed me off her position, how my position didn't change. So first off, I have to put this out there. In 7th grade, I had this reputation of asking every single girl out, and I asked this one girl out after having 1,000 no's. I got one yes, and once I got that one phone number, it changed to a guy's number. So I realized when people do that, here's the secret about when guys do that. What guys do is they get inside girls' heads and they force them to do stuff that's against the rule. What they do is they manipulate their environment and they don't make direct decisions, not because they're aware of what they're doing, was because so many other factors play into the fact where they don't make up their minds, so the guys think for them. So what happened is, there was a situation where I got this girl to the dance, and then it fluctuated, possibly maybe because of rumors. It probably was because of rumors, but something just got confirmed after I just watched this Netflix show that just confirmed what the fuck Namrata was trying to do. So what she was trying to do is what this girl was doing. So what happened was this. So Jaylene came when I was in 8th grade, but we were in the same grade, but she wasn't there when I was in 7th grade. So if you guys want to know the truth about who brought Jaylene, I'll save that for another video. But what really happened when I was in 8th grade was I was one of the most popular people in school. To 70s, I was a good dancer, but for other people like Josh, who I'm saying from Josh versus Sid, is literally was a goofy dancer. You don't know how to pop and lock. You're getting away with it because no one ever seen anyone dance before because they're all stuck at home with their parents. We actually compete. We actually listen to rap. You are literally just got out of anime. You just realized people were real. And they kept on spamming shit over and over again. But Tyrone, something about him always literally, he showed me respect every time I developed. Unlike anybody else, I'm like, why? So Tyrone, there was a whole bunch of different people in junior high that was black. And so it was, Tyrone was the only black guy who wore a fade. He kind of looked like Chris Rock. It was kind of funny, but what happened was this. He was a stereotypical nigga. He instead of ethnicity, he talked to Ben. He's like, what race are you? And it was hella funny. Ben's like, Samoan? It was literally at the time, and Tyrone only called me Sugar Boy once, and here's what happened. So Tyrone went out with Namrata. So I never asked Namrata out, but I always let Namrata know I liked her. And so here is the best thing about this versus battle is Namrata kept on playing hard to get over and over again. It pissed me off because literally every time I would do something extreme, she would still talk to me, but I would still be in the same league. I was always known as the guy that couldn't get shit out of Namrata, but Namrata always made hints that she liked me. Now that I'm older, I'm like, those aren't hints at all. Those are fucking nothings. What the fuck Tyrone were doing to me was actual factual shit. So here's what happened. So I'm gonna start off with Tyrone when it comes to accomplishments, because after I beat Gio, him and this guy named Randolph the Brutal, after I beat Gio, they drove me to the side and they started dancing in front of me. So Tyrone asked me, am I trying to tut? And he did a three-dimensional tut that actually involves you breaking your bones. And I think about that, and literally God's in my head when Tyrone does this thing where he connects both arms into a square, but he does it in the exact opposite motion. I'm like, how does he do that? And God's like, he broke his arm. So literally what happened was this. So Tyrone and Randolph congratulate me through street silence, saying that we can't give you the validation because you broke the rules of social standing. You're in a position because you're a special ed and because you're black, we can't give you automatic validation right away. But what we're going to do is we're going to give you a picture that's going to be worth 1,000 words to let us know, to let you know that we fuck with you. But if we start validating you, we're going to get targeted and we are going to get into fights. Just like Anthony and Elliot got into a fight, that's going to happen every single time. I'm sorry, it's a cruel world, but that's your social standing. You're in special ed. You're not supposed to be flirting with everybody else. You're not supposed to be with everyone else. You're considered the animal behind the cage when you're in special ed. I'm sorry, that is the truth. That was the bare reality of the situation. And what Tyrone was a resource, and the difference between me and him is he was a little bit of a banger, but he was only that because he comes from that town and he comes from that mob. But the great part about this was when he drove me to the side, him and Randolph literally started tutting in front of me, doing moves that I literally thought were so amazing. Randolph did the first tut in my entire life. I'm like, how does he do that thing with his hands? He did better than Tyrone. The difference between Randolph and Tyrone was Tyrone could tut fast, but Randolph was so slow and so clean that when I looked at him, I'm like, what the fuck is he doing? He literally held his hand behind his head and left it there for 10 minutes. I'm like, what the fuck is he doing? And left it there for a statue, and then he literally started tutting with a transition. I'm like, how did he stay still yet it looked like he was moving? It was so fucking clean. So if you ask me, what I learned better is I learned how to tut fast when I was older, but I learned that it was better for Randolph to tut slow because it helps people absorb your technique. So literally it's just like battle rap. When you rush punchlines, when you use a flow that's bumpy versus actually stopping with delivery, that is literally the difference between tutting fast and tutting slow. It's way better to tut slow than to tut fast. And I learned that from Randolph and Tyrone. So literally Tyrone could tut in diamonds and Randolph was the perfect symmetrical square of any tuts I've ever seen. So if you want to know who Randolph is, go look at his Instagram. It's called Little Knuckles. I might be able to link you a battle, but Randolph is really, really good at tutting, and without him, I would never, ever learn how to tut. So him and Tyrone made history that night when I beat Gio. I'm like, dude, this is fucking crazy. So literally, so I look at them, and God's in my head, bro. I look at Randolph tut, and he's like, no, there are different forms of dancing, because I was practicing pop and lock in front of Gio. And I listened to Lit Biscuit rolling over and over and over again, practice crumping literally so I can beat Gio. So that was outstanding. They literally did a victory dance for me like real fans are supposed to, but they kept silent right afterwards because here's the thing. So literally, so Anti did this thing where before the dance, he kept on scolding me about why you can't be a square, why you can't be this and that. And it literally pissed me off because he tried to say that through this action, he gave them direction that if I beat Gio, that because he was spying on me when I was practicing for Gio, and he's like, man, you suck, you're not even moving your body around and stuff like that, literally spying on me while I'm practicing. And so literally, what he did in silence was he looked at my outfit before the dance. He's like, you look like a square. And I'm like, because I am. And so literally, he's like, you see how he just accepts shit to my other cousin? And literally, it was fucking mania. Because what happened was this. Okay, so backtrack a little bit. So Tyrone takes a big part in Anti's plan. So here's what happened. Namrata kept on literally shoving me away, throwing me back. Literally, there was this one day where she kept on rejecting me, and I talked to her, and literally, so what happened is I pretended to act cool. I did a lot of dumb habits in 8th grade to try and be cool. She had the perfect cleavage, just like Priya Rai, but a teenager. So what happened was this. So I flipped some eye doodle at her. She's like, oh, you have eye doodle. I'm like, oh, okay. And I flipped my eye doodle in her face. And literally, the devils are like, oh, how you expect to get girls like that? Oh, I'm sorry, she already established that she didn't like me. I'm gonna take advantage of the situation. I'm gonna act out because I'm not gonna get the social validation either way. So that's what happened. And she kept on talking to me over and over again, kept on accepting my talk. So here's what happened. So what happened was Tyrone teamed up with this one light-skinned dude. After I beat Gio, I tried to get in a circle after Namrata already established that she doesn't like me. And I talked to her, and all of a sudden she starts having a weakening voice, and she doesn't know how to speak straight, because I just literally became the most popular guy in the dance floor for being Gio, who was the most popular dancer at school. And what happened was this: so I realized when I was older that her pussy was wet, and Tyrone was dating her at the time. So what I did is I didn't know that I was subconsciously making a move on Tyrone's girl. And literally, so she's like, and I'm like, what the fuck? And literally, it was so fucking crazy that here's what happened. So Tyrone literally stuck up behind me and slapped Namrata on the ass with a light-skinned dude, and she started screaming, and they literally chased her down the hall while they were slapping her ass. And I'm like, oh my god. So my little nosy ass literally followed them. Gotta go fast. And literally, so I started following them, and literally, so I look at Tyrone, and he is torturing Namrata. He is slapping her ass over and over and over again in front of me with the light skin too, double teaming it up. And even I tried to drag it, she's like, no. And I'm like, oh my god. So literally, I was literally, the difference in power was real in junior high. Tyrone was doing that shit and literally over and over again, and it horrified me that very night. And literally, what that move was literally trying to show people is I wasn't supposed to be Gio. I wasn't supposed to be this and that. So what Anti did was he literally ordered them to do that. If I beat Gio, he's like, it doesn't matter if you do this, it doesn't matter if you do that. He already established that they don't like you. So I'm going to show you what being gangster is all about. So he ordered Tyrone to do that if I beat Gio, and he did it at the perfect time and slapped his girl over and over and over again. Like, start focusing on everything, not just dancing, not just your personal habits. And literally, so literally, he literally horrified Namrata, and she was screaming up in the air, literally. It's like he was literally lifting her up with one palm over and over again, tagging her with this light skin dude. It horrified me. How the fuck is he literally manhandling this porn star, doing everything I want, literally making me cry inside, literally slapping her over and over again, and she's not stopping him, she's not doing anything. And she's just allowing it to happen over and over and over again. It tore my very eyes to shreds, and literally, I couldn't do anything. I tried jumping in, and she labeled me sugar boy automatically. I literally got destroyed that night. I came home and literally I masturbated for an hour to what the fuck Tyrone was doing. But after that, I got myself together. I'm all like, you know what? I still have a whole lot to fall back on. Even subconsciously, I still have YouTube. I still have A and Bs. I still have everything. So that move was literally meant for me to wake up and join the dark side, but I didn't. Even though that was supremely dark, literally, he was making her scream over and over again. And it didn't matter. It was a horrifying sight, but all I did was masturbate for an hour, and then I got over it. And so literally afterwards, I talked to her. I'm like, oh, don't tip me. I'll also do what Tyrone did. She's like, you better not. And I'm like, fuck. All right. Well, at least I'm still a cool guy. At least I'm still liked by Mr. Pleasure. At least I'm still on my way to get Jaylene. And what devastated me, what I figured out today when I was watching this Netflix show, was the whole reason why she went out with Tyrone was to distract me from Jaylene. And I didn't realize that until I was older. She went out with Tyrone specifically to make me jealous. Yeah, Tyrone had everything. He had the gang member status, but I had the green eyes, I had the crispy face, and I had the character development on point. So here's what happens is literally, so over and over again, Namrata keeps on playing hard to get, and it pisses me the fuck off. Because literally, I start literally saying the stupid shit, I'm a nappy boy, and her friends all like, yeah, that wasn't funny at all. And so that was literally so fucking crazy. Why you keep on accepting my thing over and over again? That's how I knew I used to be, you know, a little bit crazy. But the amazing thing about this is it got to a point where it was her birthday. So she went up to me, she's like, Aries, it's my birthday. And so I'm all like, oh, I know what to get for you. I'll get Tyrone. And she's all like, you know what? I'm just not going to talk to you because it's going to convert into something disgusting. And I'm all like, I said, that's what you get for playing hard to get. You think I give a fuck? You already established that you don't like me, so I'm going to take advantage of it. I'm going to bring the guy who slapped your ass on your birthday because isn't that what you want? I abused the fuck out of that situation. You can't say hi to me after rejecting me all that time. Literally, she would be like, hi, Eris, trailing her fingers and shit. No, you already established that you don't like me. You left me with blue balls. You teased the living fuck out of me, and you let a gangster slap your ass in front of me after I was literally trying to get a girl the entire time. You literally let somebody who did everything I worked hard for in my entire life do the most heinous shit in front of my face. And you're supposed to expect me to wish you a happy birthday? Get the fuck out of here. There was no way that she wasn't aroused after that victory. There was no way this wasn't trying to make me jealous going out with Tyrone. So let's move on to Tyrone. So Tyrone went like this. So there was this one day where I was at woodshop and I was playing too hard to fit in. I was trying really so hard to fit in. Really, I thought I was Mr. Fab in junior high because I had a nerd complex, but I love listening to rap. I love dancing and stuff like that. So I pretended to be like an old school artist like Belle Biv DeVoe, or you know when they used to poke the glasses out in the 70s and shit. I used to literally fuck with these goggles I got in woodshop classes. I thought they were stylish, so I come up to Tyrone's crew and I thought I was big shot, so I come up with woodshop glasses and they're like, what? And then Tyrone's are like, I don't know, y'all guys are tripping, those glasses go. It's not on him though. So you see the difference between everything? So literally, Tyrone always gave me credit whenever I improved, but whenever I tried to get in the router, she kept on playing hard to get over and over again. Yeah, Tyrone may have horrified me that night, but the router literally put me in a bad position over and over again, or all she had to do was confess that she fucking liked me, and I wouldn't have gone through half this shit in junior high, and I realized that she was a distraction from Jaylene. And it pissed me the fuck off because she literally was the sexiest thing that was in 7th grade, and Jaylene was my prize that was also taken away from me, and it pissed me off to a great extent. So literally, the winner goes to Tyrone. I don't give a fuck about how pretty you are. I don't give a fuck about this and that. He gave me a better perspective. He gave me a better outlook at life. He was actually more of a friend than she was. Sorry. But all that pretty can't get in the way of personality forever. And that is why the victory goes to Tyrone.